Evening all, and welcome to the latest edition of the Man United Brothers podcast. Here with your host Curtis McClements, as always, joined by my brother and co-host Thomas McClements. How are we tonight, Lasho?
I am not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Had a busy weekend. Had the caravan out for the first weekend of the season, so that's why you didn't get my post earlier. You didn't get my post to tell you what was coming up today in the match wise, and my team post. I was frantically trying to get back in time, and I just about made it. Pulled in with a van at 3:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, Thomas lives in England. For those who don't know, so restrictions are lifted a bit, so he's allowed to go and do stuff, which is nice. But yeah, everyone was disappointed in not receiving your posts. Loads of messages about it. Your disgrace, but yeah,
Well,
look
next
away.
time, mate. Next time, I'll be all over it. I'll make sure to pick a campsite that has phone service next time.
Yeah, that would work because I was messaging you. Just ignore me.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. I did manage to watch the last 20 minutes of the Chelsea Man City game, which was quite nice because in Chris's caravan, he's got a TV that picked up BBC. So snuck in
Nice.
there and got the last 20 minutes of that match. I was buzzing about that.
Yeah, it was good to see, mate. I don't really give a fuck who wins it in terms of anybody else. The problem was, as you know, we just don't want City to win that treble. So that was all it was for me. Like, man,
No,
you
I
don't give.
agree 100%. That was exactly the same for me. It's not that I just go out and support anyone who's playing against City. I just didn't want City to do A, the quadruple, or B, the proper treble.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But anyhow,
Back to the day. So we'll focus on the match. I know there's another big thing lurking in the background, and we'll talk about that after we cover the match. I think is that fair enough?
yeah, that is fair enough. I had a
Okay.
had a tough part today. It was tough paying attention to the match today. I think there was a lot of things that happened. Maybe it was just me because I had arrived and I was, getting back in and everything. But then obviously they scored in the first 20 seconds. It was like, what the hell is Dean Henderson doing? And then Gary Neville hit the nail on the head where he said he couldn't concentrate in the game because of all this talk about this European Super League, which I know, like I say, we'll talk about later. But it took my focus off our game because then I was like, well, what is it? Like, I understand the idea of it, as in the larger picture, but I don't really understand all the ins and outs. So I couldn't really concentrate on our game too much. So I don't know. I think it was just a bit of a blur. I think we done average and won. That's all I can say.
Well, I concentrated on the game because that's our podcast about you cock. But no, with average and one's probably fair. I think you started Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson was awful today. Like it just decision making just seemed to be wrong. Now people say all the sun in his eyes second half and stuff. Mainly it was the first half of his decision making was just fucking crazy. I couldn't understand it. Um, even for their goal, Gary Neville mentioned it, Roy Keane mentioned it after, how deep we sat in, which almost invited that pressure onto Henderson. Um, and I'm not saying he could have came and caught that one for the goal, but I just think it seemed to whatever was good that like from the first 20 seconds, it seemed what happened today was that it was our whole defense. It was Lindelof, Maguire, and Henderson were all fucking shite today. And I don't know whether just before this we sat down for 2 days and went, we're playing Burnley. They're big and they're strong up there, and they're going to bully us. And we just went, oh, okay, we'll just accept that. And that's almost what it felt like. And Chris Wood, who is a fucking championship striker, and I'll argue with anyone all day if they want to fucking tell me anything different. He scored 7 goals in the Premier League. Fuck off. He's a championship striker. He made the three of them look like fucking wee boys today, and that really fucking irritated me.
Do you reckon if he doesn't win that first header, if Maguire gets up and absolutely powers it, if Henderson comes out and gets a fist to it, the same, it would happen the same again? Like, do you know what I mean? In terms of if we had to come out and won that, do you think we
What
would
are
have?
you doing?
What's wrong?
Well, I can't hear you again. You fucking at it again. You're at it again.
This really annoys me because I don't do anything. I don't press anything. I don't even move. I just keep talking and doing what I'm doing, and then
Yeah,
you start
this
saying this
you.
shit.
I blame you anyway. What were you saying?
If Henderson had to come out and won that and got a fist to it, if Maguire had got headed it clear, would the same thing have happened the rest of the game? Did
No.
Was it that first 20 seconds that then just set the tone?
Well, perhaps, but in that first 20 seconds, we let them set the tone, and it was like we knew what we're in for, but we're afraid of what we're in for. the fact that Henderson was running out like that so late showed that he knew he had to try and be commanding in them areas. But Maguire could beat that. Like Maguire looked like a wee fucking schoolboy all day. Like I would. He was bullied by whatever, however the fuck he said, cunt's name at centre back, Tur. I know it's probably really easy to say actually, but I can't think of how you said. Who
Tarkowski.
scored the goal? That's him, Turkowski. I couldn't get it in my head there. He was just bullied by everyone that came near him, and that's not usually. Usually he's good near, and that's a strong point. So it was just really strange to see him. Maybe you're making the point that if that was different in the first 20 seconds, it wouldn't have happened, and that put fear in him. Maybe it did. If Henderson hadn't come out, he was never getting that. Like he came out, 2 hours late. If he had stayed, that was flicked on. He catch it, and maybe we didn't have them issues. Maybe we thought, oh, we can handle this boy, no bother.
I think for me though, that's exactly what he was trying to do. He was trying to set an early precedence to say, "I'm going to come out and win everything." And if he had come out and got a big strong fist of that, we would have been sat here going, "Yeah, what a move!" First 20 seconds, he comes out, he wipes out Wood, and he wins the ball. But obviously he didn't. But and it's all ifs and buts and all that carry on. I understand that, but for me, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't terrible. There was that one and one other that he could have done much better on. But apart from that, I had no problems with everything else he done.
No, he was terrible, man. He was terrible. It just looked. It just looked. He scared the shit out of himself with that. But that's what I meant. But you're right. He's thought that's what he has to do in the first 20 seconds. Come out, wipe Wood out, win the ball, and just show how he's in charge. That for me came from the team talk about at the start with. We're thinking these boys are going to be tough up there. It's going to be tight to play against, and we've almost what it's self-fulfilling prophecy, whereby we've just bought into the fact that he's a fucking superstar who can beat us all in the air, and we just let him do it all day. Maybe, and like you can say if he came out one, but he didn't. He was just so far off it. He was never going to win it. That was the concern for me. And then there was a few more where he was fucking crazy on, and you're just going, what the fuck? I just think they let Burnley and the physicality get in their heads, which baffled me considering that Maguire that's usually his game.
I would say I slightly disagree with you. I think our recent results against them would have determined it and dictated how we played today. And the fact that they had three draws and a win against us in the last four times we've played them, that's what speaks volumes to me. They're a team who we can go out and try and front up, didn't work. We can go out and try and outplay, didn't work. Like we've tried different bits and pieces around them. So I think that was definitely what was going on there. But again, though, right, and you probably know where I'm going with this. It doesn't help having someone in midfield who cannot control the ball or pass the ball. It really doesn't. I know you're laughing, and I don't mean to continuously go on about this. How many times again today did he give it away straight away? And it's like, any wonder we're slow on the ball because when we're Fred's got it, we're not making those runs. We're not moving the ball fast because we know we're not going to get it. And we're going to have to track back.
Yeah, and I take on board the point with Fred, and we'll talk about him a bit more. But the reality is, you can't blame Fred for how poor Lindelof, Maguire, and Henderson were today. They just weren't good enough. They weren't, and you can say you can front up to him. We didn't front up to Burnley. We got bullied by them for main part of the game. The second half, we sort of turned it up a bit. But the first half, we definitely let the bully. The referee didn't help in some instances. But the reality of the situation is, if the ref's not going to help, then fucking help yourself and just be stronger, be more physical, push them off the ball, leave one in on them. You've got that wee fucking prick Brownhill. Absolutely hate the wee fucker. I'll take him up the hill any day. Kicking the ball, Fernandez down, mouthing off, giving up, thinks he's fucking big. Fucking hit him with one then. If they're going to do it and they're getting away with it, do it back. But we just didn't. The second half, then we just let the football do talking fair enough. But the first half,
Right.
so
No,
it's
I'm going
two.
to
It's
stop you there. No, I'm going to stop you there because that's exactly what the reaction should be. It didn't come in the first half, but that's exactly what it should be. It shouldn't be about fronting up and kicking them back. As much as I would like that, but that's same for United. If I'm playing at that level, I'm kicking someone back. But we're Man United. If you're getting kicked, you answer them back by the football you play. So it's not about getting into these tussles. It's not about just throwing an elbow. It's about outplaying them and beating them, which ultimately we did do in the second half, which is what you've just said.
Yeah, and you interrupt me there. The point was you either do one or two things: you front up and give them back, or you outplay them and beat them. We didn't do either in the first half, though. That was the frustration, and that's why it was sort of real. It was difficult to watch. Yes, Fred giving the ball away doesn't help. I appreciate that, but it was like we just let them bully us in the first half, and I fucking hate anything. There's nothing more I hate than watching a team bully us and us just accepting it and Bruno's cracking up and shouting and mouthing, but he's not really doing anything. But I thought Bruno was awful today, by the way. But he's not really doing anything. He's just screaming and rolling about and shouting at the referee. Let's hit a boy with a hard time. I'm not saying fire an elbow. I'm not saying, 2 foot someone. What I'm saying is you be stronger and you be smarter. That's what they were doing. They were playing that cute side. But if you don't want to do that and you don't have that in your repertoire, then you go, right, well, fuck you, play football. The only person who stood up to him was Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba stood up to him and was strong enough to be holding them off, winning a free kicks, seeing them off the ball, and he's big
Somehow,
and physical.
somehow he's giving away free kicks. I don't get this. Pogba
Uh,
still
but
is getting penalised for being kicked and pulled back, and because he's
yeah, there's a
stronger than
couple.
them and they're falling down, he's getting given free kicks away. I just can't get my head around this. It's been a couple of games that's happened to him now. It's pissing me off.
It's it's the way he does it. He's physical and strong and off, and it is. He gets it against him probably because he's just bigger and stronger than people, which is just an absolute farce. But that's just what annoyed me about the first time. It was just frustrating to watch. It didn't help the first 20 seconds before we started. And I just thought yeah, if that or the fact that I just thought, oh, it's going to be tough today, I don't know, and had the wrong mindset coming out. Our defence, just the middle three, weren't as good as they have been. And I've given them credit this last however many matches, month or so. They say it'd be much better, and then lost them very good. Today they just looked all over us. Even the third goal that we scored, like the fucking calamity at the back before that was just disgusting. And how we got it away, yes, and we broke away fine. Lindelof was a fucking disgrace. Like I don't even know what he was doing. That was Symphony United fucking defending. It was brutal. And thankfully, they were as shite going forward, so it bounced all over the place, and we managed to get it clear. And Bruno kicked, pretty good pass. But like some of it was just fucking
Isn't
diabolical.
isn't perception unbelievable? Because you perceive that to be a mess. I perceive that to be fantastic scramble in defence. The way,
Scrambling, no.
of course, we should have been. We were pushing up, and they caught us on the counter. So we came back. We fell back. We got the first foot in. It fell to another one of their players. We got another foot in. It fell to one of their players, and then Maguire got another foot in. So Maguire had two of them. He's unsteady. He's not planted. He's not in a position because he's still tracking back. Gets a foot into it. It bounces back to their player. They get a touch on it, and then manages to pass it to one of our players, which sets up a counter attack.
Nah,
I
I made
thought
you
it was
wrong.
absolutely fine scramble defense. Well, I'm not wrong.
Watch it again.
That's my opinion versus
Well,
yours.
I
I'm
guess
not
I
wrong, but
disagree. I disagree with your opinion. Watch it again and
that's
watch
how I would see it.
Lindelof. Lindelof twice fucks up. First time I don't know what he was doing. He fell over. Second time he got back, tried it, fucked up again. The only person who did well, and that was Luke Shaw, who when Maguire was caught out and not sure what the fuck he was doing to start with, Shaw came over and blocked it from going through, and then from there we managed to get it away, and it fell to Maguire eventually, and he passed on to Bruno. He's the only one who actually defended properly in that scenario. If
Maguire
you're two
had
centre
two
backs,
blocks.
yeah, but one of them was a fuck up as well. It was shy too. If your two centre
Lindelof.
backs are defend like that in the whole game, which they were, and thankfully Chris Wood is a championship striker because otherwise he would have had a hat trick today. Um, defend like that against strikers who are decent, we'll concede more goals. And as I say, I'm only basing it on today because this last month have been brilliant. It just seemed today, for whatever reason, they
Well,
weren't at their
my
level they should
only
be.
issue, and the one thing that you haven't mentioned is how Lindelof was caught out in the right back position because he was over there as the ball was rolling across the line. And my only issue is that Lindelof was calling for a throw rather than playing until the whistle went. That was my only issue with it. Everything else after that was scrambling defence. Our centre back was caught out way over on the sideline, literally on the sideline. So first of all, he's there for a reason because we were on the attack and we've been called out. I'm not going to blame Wan-Bissaka for being out of position because we were attacking. That's what we want him to do. We give it away. They're counter attacking us. He's came over. He's raised his arm looking for a throw in, and then from there he's out of position. He's scrambling back, and then everything else happens. And I think it was we had to do what we had to do, and we done it, and we got rid of it. So I had no issues whatsoever with it. I think you're being too critical of it. I thought, yeah, there was a couple of dodgy moments, but in general, I didn't think they were terrible.
Man, well, we'll agree to disagree on it. The reality is they only conceded one, but we're lucky because we should. If, as I say, Chris Wood is whoever Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Harry Kane, he's got a hat trick today, easy, simple as. Um, Moving on to Shaw, I thought again was good,
He
very
was
good.
amazing. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
fantastic.
has been this last while and continues to be. To be fair to him, Wan-Bissaka, what was your thoughts on him?
I thought he done all right today. To be fair, I mean, he's still going forward. He's not amazing, but he's getting better. He's in the positions when we're attacking now, which helps a lot. There's a lot of that passing back and everything, and he doesn't quite want to cross it, and then whoever's receiving it from the pass back doesn't quite want to cross it. So I'd prefer them to make those decisions out there a bit quicker. Between the, it was usually McTominay, Fernandez, and Wan-Bissaka. Between the three of them, just get a ball in quicker. Don't go out to the right back in one more, out to the right back. Do you know what I mean? Don't do it 3, 4 times. Do it once, okay, and then one of you cross it in on the next time you get it. That was my only frustration with it, but in general, I thought he'd done fine. Yeah,
Agree in terms of getting into positions. That's good to see him in them positions. But I actually thought I said to you after the match, Cavani done fuck all apart from score. But then when I sort of rewatched some of it, and he's moving all the time. He must be, especially when it was out that right hand side. He must be frustrated as fuck because he makes an early move for the ball to be crossed, doesn't get crossed, comes back in, doesn't get crossed, goes back, move, doesn't get crossed. I mean, it's like holy fuck, you'd be cracking up.
I thought he was brilliant. Even the second goal we scored. Was it the first goal? No, even the first goal we scored. Sorry, he has fallen into space. He's dropping deep to pick the ball up in a different position that Rashford or Greenwood were beforehand. He didn't get it. He didn't even have a touch in it. But he'd sucked defenders out of the way. He had made space for other people. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes breaking into it, obviously just doing the step over. But you could see they were a player down, which is why Greenwood was free. That was Cavani because Cavani had moved out, and that was I thought that was outstanding. So yeah, no, he done nothing wrong. He's brilliant today, Cavani. I thought
Yeah, I didn't think he was brilliant, but he was all right. He was
took
all
his
right. He
goal
did.
very well. That was really nice play.
Uh,
That goal, really nice play.
yeah, it was good to see Donny get an assist as well. To be fair, he pops up in a
Yeah,
good wee position and gives his first time pass, which is good.
again, I just love him. Like if you watch Van de Beek, just his movement from the minute he came on, he just doesn't stop. He's everywhere. So yeah, I think it does him well to get that assist. So I was very pleased for him.
It's yeah. He's continued to talk about and continue to thing. The only thing would be I said to you at one point we brought Cavani on at half time, and I messaged you saying I don't know what else we can do. Now we took Rashford off. Obviously, he was probably still struggling a wee bit. Although he looked much better today. To be fair, Rashford
Much
looked
better.
much better today. And so this week rest will do him good as well. But then we brought Donny on, and he closed a few down. He got a few nice touches. There was a one point he did this wee flick into Greenwood in the box, which was delightful. And a couple of wee things he done, which he's just a nice wee tidy player. So we'll continue to say it. Like you just like to see him play. It's just a challenge of because of the way we're playing, who we're playing. How's he get in? So again, we come back at the 10 today. Again, Bruno pushed out wide left. So um, yeah, I don't know. It was nice to see him. Nice to see him get that assist, and I think he could be a really useful quality player. But without him playing, it's going to be difficult to see that.
Let's see what he can bring in the later stages of Europa.
No, I think it's used.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's it.
Well, they'll have to
Well,
be used because the reality is, and I don't know how this if this will stand, but we play Leeds next weekend. Then we have Thursday night Roma, Saturday Liverpool at 3 o'clock. That must be getting moved. I don't understand how it's still there. And then Thursday again Roma.
yeah, I
Um,
don't know what's happening there to be honest.
that can't be. We never play Liverpool on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So I just don't see that being the case. Maybe I'm totally wrong, and for whatever reason they're doing it. But usually it's moved to Sunday or something like that. So we'll wait and see. But and only 2 days after Europa League as well, which is a bit fucking harsh. But if that's the case, Donny will need to be used because you don't want to. You can't. It'd be quite difficult for Bruno to be playing both matches 2 days apart.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, mate. I'm just double checking that to see what the crack is. Um,
Yeah, I checked it earlier and it still says it, but yeah, I don't know. You can see if there's something different you can see there.
no, yeah,
Um,
first of May, 3 o'clock.
yeah, it's strange. Like that's a Saturday at 3. Like when's the last time you ever remember us playing Liverpool 3 o'clock on Saturday? When's the last time you ever remember us playing a match at 3 o'clock on Saturday?
Can't remember the last time there's been a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday because it's always televised. It's like 12:30, and then four
There's
o'clock
ones
or 2 o'clock or something. I'm
there was ones last weekend, but it was televised. Like, it was Villa or something we're playing, but it was at 3 o'clock. It was Liverpool Villa at 3 o'clock last weekend. It was televised as well. It was on Sky, but I get, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just can't see how that would stay that way.
well,
Anyway,
that's going to be tough for us. That's going to be very tough for us
but that's surely because
after the
you're
Roma.
surely after the Europa League, sure it's always a Sunday you play, is it not?
Don't know, mate. I tell you what, if they had a league that was well ran, that sort of thing wouldn't happen.
Anyway, so moving on then, so we've covered Cavani and Rashford was very good. There's a lovely wee sexy movie did at one
I
point where he
thought he
did
was
the wee
brilliant.
whoop, see you
I thought he
later
done really
to,
well.
who
Even
was that he did it to?
the touch when it came down to him, oh, it was unbelievable. I think it was Tarkowski again. He done it too.
Yeah, that
He
big
just
cunt, he just
left
went
him.
whoop, whoop, see you later.
See you later, Mish.
Loved
Um,
it.
Pogba, when he was out on the left, I thought was brilliant. Was involved in a lot of play. I felt like when he went into the midfield role, he just wasn't getting on the ball as much, or he was getting crowded out. I don't know what it was. He just didn't seem to be as on it as he was when he was out on the left.
Doing it different. He was doing more than what you see. He was tracking back a good bit. He was dropping in. He was making runs forward, and then I seen him a lot. He'd make a run forward, but he'd come straight back. So he was almost straight away thinking about, oh, I need to get back in the
Making
position.
sure he wasn't getting caught out.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I don't want to knock that because that's good if we have him playing in there with McTominay, which is what we want. Um, that would be a positive. So I think overall he done very well. There's parts of the game, sort of 10, 15 minute spells, first half and second half. He just took the game by the scruff again and was
Yeah.
sort of dictating. So that's good to see.
Do you think it looked more balanced with Pogba and McTominay in there in the second half, or was it more balanced with Fred and McTominay?
Now, it was more balanced with Pogba in there. Like, Pogba gets the
Yeah.
ball and he can pass it out. You get it out straight away, you get it quicker. In the first, 5 minutes of the second half, it showed Pogba dropped in the midfield, Rashford left straight away. Pogba got the ball, got it out to Rashford, or got it out to Shaw, went to Rashford. Rashford was away. Lovely wee move, beat your man Loudon, or Luton, whatever you call him. And then was set up the goal, and it was lovely. But it just showed that what that showed was what Pogba can do in midfield, but also the difference of having Rashford on the left, because I think he was wasted through the middle in the first half.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm with you there. To be
Um,
fair,
So Fred, I think we know just yeah.
he's done for me. Like I wouldn't have him anywhere near the pitch.
It's quite strange the fact that I didn't really get why Cavani didn't start, and then they were saying something about Martin Tyler was saying something about the interview beforehand. It was suggested that Cavani made the decision.
Yeah. So this
Did
is
you hear the interview?
no, but when it all happened, I thought to myself, I wonder if Cavani has said he doesn't want to play because that's it. It seems to be a theme throughout his time at United that he's making the decisions. Not that he's making the decisions, but he's saying this is what I feel like today. This is how I feel, and I don't mind that because he's a 34, 35-year-old striker who's been around. It's not like he's someone who's just came for a paycheck. He's been around. He's played the game. He knows his body. He knows we've got a huge couple of weeks coming up. So he says, look, I don't really feel right bang on it, but I can give you 45 minutes in the second half if you need me. And I think that's all right. But I had that sort of suspicion when he didn't start. I thought, I wonder if he came off. He asked to come off on Thursday night, and then I wonder if he made the decision not to start today. And which, again, it worked. If you know what I mean. If it hadn't have worked, then I'd be sitting here going, who is he to make these decisions? But at the end of the day, he's not a 19, 20-year-old saying this. Do you know what I mean? He's an experienced pro who's been around.
Yeah, my worry would be if it was the other way, if he was making a decision to play every single match, and the way they portray it. And by the way, Martin Tyler is an absolute fucking cock. The more I listen to that boy, the more I want to fight him as well. Him and Brownhill up the hill. Like he might as well just come out and say I fucking hate United. Bruno was fouled at one point. And he starts laughing and all says, "Oh, just reminding Bruno he's in a football." Man, fuck off, you fucking arsehole. He's fucking just went through the back of him. He's a fucking dickhead and he's a fucking mouth up. But anyway, the way he portrays it is, oh, El Cavani's calling the shots and doing what he wants. That's not really what's happening. I agree with you. Cavani's an experienced guy. He's old enough to know his body. And he's probably had a conversation with Solskjaer and said, I'm not fit for 90. I could probably give you 45. So you make the decision you want. Maybe you could say I could give you 60. And all he's saying, well, look, we'll not wait risky from the start. We'll keep it to half time. And they've made an agreement. It's not going to be Cavani coming in and going, listen, Nolly, I'm not starting today. The way it's portrayed just pisses me off. So, and
Mm.
it was the right thing to do. In the end, it was the right thing to do, yes. And if we didn't win, I don't know. It's hard to say what way I would react, but at the same time, I still think you'd be sitting going, well, he knows his body. He's the right age to know what he needs to do, and he'd have had a conversation with the manager. I have no doubt if Ollie had said to him, "No, I need you. I have no other options. I need you to start today," he would have started. I genuinely believe that.
It's interesting, mate, because yeah, like you said, Martin Tyler was very much trying to get across, as a lot of the media have been, that Solskjaer's a pushover and can't make these decisions. Although I was reading about a journalist who is Man United's journalist. Basically, he's one of the ones from inside the club, and it was saying about how Solskjaer has, on numerous occasions, went absolutely berserk at players behind the scenes, like Mason Greenwood for the England thing, like Paul Pogba for the Raiola thing. There's been a few incidences, and he says he knows firsthand that Ollie has went absolutely berserk behind doors, and these players have paid for it and had whatever they got punished. And then as soon as he's gone out in the media, he has absolutely backed those players 100%. And that's why everyone says Ollie's soft, Ollie's this. No, Ollie knows how to get his team playing. Ollie could be doing a Mourinho and could be sitting in seventh, eighth, wherever the bloody hell they are. Like, that's the difference between those managers.
It's such a valid point. Because actually, if you look at the Pogba situation and what happened with Raiola, I have no doubt that Pogba and or Ollie had a conversation with Pogba and whether he bollocked him or did whatever. But he's actually sorted it out because have you heard anything since that?
No,
Nope,
nothing.
nothing. You take it back to Mourinho being there, and like you say, it would be still going on. It's Pogba wouldn't be playing. Everyone would be talking about it. Raiola would be talking about it still. There'll be chat going on everywhere. And that's because, and I can say that, and I'm not fucking guessing because we watched it fucking happen. So people need to give Ollie more credit, and I think this Cavani situation is one. I said at the start when we started talking about, I'd be more worried if he was doing the opposite. If Cavani was starting every single match and coming off after half an hour because he's fucked or something, that would be like going, fuck, Cavani's just saying I want to start every game. But I think it's just an older, experienced player having a sensible conversation with the manager, and they're making the right decisions, and it's working so far. And you're absolutely right. We have, if that Liverpool game is at 3 o'clock on the Saturday, there's 3 games within however 7 days that we need him to be playing in, and that's what he needs, that rest. So yeah, I think it was absolutely perfect for it. So it
Mm-hmm.
just fucked me off the way it's like they're trying to, like you say, portray Ollie as this wee pushover, but he's not, and he's proved that. You don't be sitting second in the league and going to win the league and in the semi final in the semi-finals of the Europa League, by just going, oh, I'll just do everything every player wants, because that doesn't work. If you're doing what every player wants, and have to keep everyone happy, right? But everybody wants to play one way or another. If you're trying to just do that with everyone, it'll bite you in the arse. He's not doing that, and he's managed it very well. So yeah, I don't know how we got on that. Just went totally
No,
off
no,
piece
but
there.
it was just to go on that Cavani thing. But yeah, no, so that's pretty much everyone covered, mate. I think Greenwood. Sorry, Greenwood was the last one. I thought. Oh, McTominay. Well, I thought we touched on him. Yeah, I've just thought he done a professional job. Just done what he had to do. Really, I don't think
Yeah,
he didn't do anything special. He didn't do anything terrible. But that's what you want from a centre defence midfielder, right?
probably a 6.5 out of 10. I'd say probably maybe should have scored. There's one I thought with the
Yeah.
first one he hit, I thought he should score that, but then maybe I'm being a bit harsh because it was a hard enough chance. But yeah, 6.5 out of 10. And then Greenwood, as you say, I thought again what he's adding now is goals, and that's just
Hmm.
it's just a delight to see.
Much better coming off that right wing, isn't he? Like much better
Say that
coming off
again.
that. Much better coming off that right wing, isn't he?
Yeah, mate, but that's what I think he should be playing all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I don't mind him through the middle so much, to be fair, but Cavani's obviously going to be better.
Yeah, that's but Cavani's better. Rashford didn't do anything through the middle, but the problem being when you put Greenwood in the middle, it's who do you put out in the right? So
Hmm.
it's a strange one. I think he's better coming in off the right at the minute, anyhow. And the fact of the matter is, he can cut in on the left, but he's also very clever and can go on his right foot. So if people keep saying maybe in a few years he'll be that central striker, the reality of the situation, if you're playing with three up there, I don't understand why everyone thinks you know, it's not like the central striker's the main one anymore. It's not. That's not the case for me. The two guys as wide are just as important as the central guy. Because if you have, like we've talked about it, Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming, and I've talked about Giroud, who I think's the best in the business at it, sits in the middle, doesn't get loads of goals, so doesn't get all the plaudits, but it's the two boys wide of him who reap the rewards of that. And that's why I think Greenwood can be there and play there for another couple of years at least. And if he wants to go in that centre role, maybe he develops to get there. But I don't see why he needs to change. Just keep playing down the right.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. Um, Having a look at the predictions. You predicted
Oh,
2-1. Did you tell me to hold on there?
no, said, oh yeah, I forgot about the
All
predictions.
right. You predicted 2-1. I predicted 3-0. So, since it's a Man United podcast and I said 3 and Man United scored 3, I get the point.
Don't talk fucking shit. But I said 2-1 and they got one, so
Yeah, but it's
surely we
not.
both get a point.
No, because it's not a Burnley podcast, is it? It's a Man United podcast.
Surely we both get a point each.
No, no,
Yes, this is bullshit.
no, mate. Well, it's a Man United podcast, and I said three, so that's
Yeah,
the
fuck this. Fuck this. I'm joining the Super League. I'm away.
end of it. That leads us on nicely to the Super League. Um, I'm just having a quick look actually as we're speaking because apparently there was going to be an announcement at 9:30, which is really random, but don't doesn't look like there's anything else that's come out of it really.
I'm just off like on Twitter. I'd seen that as well. There's going to be an announcement at 9:30. We haven't seen anything. Do you want to go
See,
first on it or do you want me to go?
I'll let you go first on it, mate, if you can control your temper. Before you do, though, I see that Boris Johnson has condemned the 12 major clubs who are going for it, but that really doesn't carry much weight at the minute. So go ahead.
There's a lot of people have condemned it. A lot of people have come out saying that's why they're doing this, blah, blah, blah. So my view on it is this. I think you've got a slightly different view than me, which is interesting, but my view on it is I think we just can't do this. We shouldn't even be considered in the conversation. Gary Neville, I listened to him, and he got very passionate about it. And you know, I'm passionate about it, about United as well, and the way I talk. But, you know, there's a few people saying different things like, well, I couldn't support this shirt and blah, blah, blah. The reality of that situation is, to me, that's bullshit. You know, from my view, because they're United, and I'll support them no matter what the fuck they're playing in. You know, they're my club. I'm not going to go, oh, they're not in the Premier League anymore, or they're not this, so I have to pick a different team. Well, that just won't fucking happen. So I'll always support United. But the reality of the situation is, the Premier League is our bread and butter. It's where we've made our history. Yeah, okay, it changed from first division to the Premier League, but that was just a development of the English game. The English Premier League is the best league in the world. Why in the fuck would you ever think of leaving it for a start? The second thing on that is our history and everything that we have in that. You can't just negate all that and leave it. You want to be the best. First and foremost, what your point of view being a club is, right? Any club throughout any league, as you go right down the league, same for United included in this as we look at our league. What do you want to be? You want to be the best in your league and then the best in your country, right? So if you're the best in your league and you get up the leagues and up the leagues to the top league in your country, you want to be the best in your country, right? The next stage then is you go, right, I want to be the best in Europe. And the next stage is you want to be the best in the world. Now, admittedly, the World Club Championship thing's a lot of fucking bollocks, so it doesn't work. But in Europe, we have something that works very, very well, in my opinion, the Champions League and then the UEFA Cup, if or UEFA the Europa League, if you're obviously not qualifying as your best in your country. So I don't understand why we would want anything else. I don't particularly want to see United playing Real Madrid 4 or 5 times a year, playing, you know, as Juventus 4 or 5 times a year, because it takes away the appeal of when you get to the Champions League and you draw Real Madrid or you draw Juventus and you go, this is a big game, this is exciting. Even drawing Roma in the Europa League, you're going, when's the last time we played them? Fuck, we beat them 7-1 that time, do you remember? You know, if you're playing them every single week, for me, it loses a lot of the appeal. And the last thing, so I just think we need to fucking sack it off. And the Glazers it's the Glazers, it's the Glazers. I accidentally said it's Woodward, but it's obviously it's the Glazers. This is money orientated, and this is the Glazers all over. And it doesn't surprise me that it's Liverpool are included in as well, American owners. Chelsea are like the main three are the problem who disappoint me are United, Liverpool, maybe Arsenal, but I don't really give a fuck about them. But United, Liverpool have the heritage, have the history, have the pedigree to say, no, this is bullshit. And if them two did that, I think it's a non-starter for a start. But Liverpool or Chelsea and Man City will always do it because that's all they're fucking about. They're all about money. You know, the guys that own them's about money. They've no history. There's no fuck all. They've only been fucked about for the last few years because they got some money pumped in them. So they'll always want to jump ship to wherever there's more money. And I don't know how the fuck Spurs are included in the fucking conversation. That's a totally different point. But from United's point of view, they need to squash it. They need to say, fuck off. This has got nothing to do with it. And we don't want anything to do with it. We're Premier League. We want to show we're the best in our country. And the last thing before I get your view on this, I think the other point of it is Sky are an absolute fucking joke. The way they're getting on, like, oh, they're so greedy and they're this and that. I guarantee fucking damn fucking to you, the who will be showing the games? Who will be showing the games if
No,
it does
no,
happen?
no.
Sky.
That's the problem.
Sky will be showing
That's the
them.
problem. Sky are already too deep and have paid too much to the Premier League for the next X amount of years. That's why Sky are annoyed about it. But anyway, a couple of points there. First of all, Spurs are involved in it because they've got the best stadium in the world, without a doubt. That's the only reason, because it's a
Okay.
spectacle, right? It's not that I have a different view on it. I'm not an advocate for this whatsoever. I'm not a fan of an idea of a European Super League. Like you, I will support anyone United, or sorry, I will support United for anyone they're playing against. It doesn't matter if it's Saintfield United, if it's Portchester, if it's Real Madrid, or if it's Burnley. I'm going to support United. So yes, I won't like it. I'll probably go to Fratton a lot more to watch Portsmouth, but that's just the way it is. You're talking about history there. I really don't think it comes into it at all, because if you look at the definition of history is the study of past events. Our history is not going to change. We have won the Premier League X amount of times. Liverpool's history is not going to change. They won the top division X amount of times. That, again, nothing to do with it. Your history is not tainted because your history is exactly what it is. It's been there, it's came, it's gone. That's it. You're not. No one can look back and change it. I know people in England now are trying to pull down statues and change the history, but the history is always going to be there. Simple as. Now, to bring a little bit of logic behind it and the reason, and people say greed, yes, I understand that. American sports, you know, I love going on about it because I spent a lot of time in America, and I love how they run their sports because it works for them. I'm going to use an example here of Jacksonville Jaguars. They played 16 games this season, same as any regular season in all the NFL teams. They played 16 games. They lost 15 and won one. They didn't get relegated. They get rewarded by getting the number one pick in the draft next season. And the whole franchise is worth $2.07 billion. Right? Right. Now, that is a team with a losing record. Now, and again, I'm not saying this is a great idea. It's not. But what I'm saying is, you look at these Americans and you look at the way that they're set up. That is why they're talking about a European Super League, because there's no worry about getting relegated and you're doing nothing but making money, making money, making money. And that's what it's all about for them. And that is when you're talking about running a business. I don't want Man United run as a business. I want to see us struggle against Burnley. I want to see us at Stoke on a wet Tuesday night. But I understand why all these American owners are trying to pull away from the Premier League and are trying to set up a league where there is no repercussions for being shit.
Yeah, right. Logically, when you say it, that makes sense. And also, what I will say is, I love the American football and I love the setup of it. I love the draft. I love the colleges. I've always said, yeah, fuck, if we had grew up in America, the things and opportunities there and the way it was set up and the way things are done, it's just a totally different way of life and it's brilliant. And I think it's absolutely, I love the way they do it in their sports. But that's not what football is, and that's not the way it works. And for me, if there's no risk of relegation, then what the fuck's the point? And I've grown up playing football in my life, watching football in my life. That risk always has to be there. That problem of getting relegated, that is part of our history as well. We've been relegated and fought back and came back up. For me, that adds that extra bit of whatever you want to call it, je ne sais quoi to the whole situation. Because there is, all of a sudden you could get relegated if you're playing shit. So I just can't see.
No,
What frustrates me is the fact that we're involved in that conversation. Again, actually probably what it highlights is what you said there is we are a business now, and that's almost what we're seen as. It was always yes, we knew we were a business, but football on the pitch was vital to that. Whereas this is the opposite.
but
This is
it's
business comes first, the football comes.
it's a typical. It won't happen, right? It won't happen. I have no doubt in my mind it will never happen. But it's a typical case of Americans being arrogant and naive to think that it could happen. To think that actually this 20 team, because 12 teams is never going to work in a million years, but to think this 20 team can just go and play in one league all season and not have an FA Cup and not have a Premier League and not have a Champions League and not have a Europa League and not have a the World Club Cup. They're going to fall out of all of these money making things because some American bank is offering them 5 billion. Well, that's nothing in comparison to everything you're going to get over all these other competitions. I tell you what my biggest worry would be, and again, I'll say it, it's not going to happen because it just would not work in Europe. This American model would not work. As amazing as I actually think it is, I love it for America. It wouldn't work in Europe. Also, if it did, the Premier League would not be around. The Premier League would disintegrate. The Premier League would never ever survive without these six clubs. It just would not happen. You got to remember the Premier League is a private firm as such. It's a business in itself, but it's one that needs those six clubs. Without those six clubs, there's no Premier League, and all the other 14 will fall back into the Football League. And yes, there'll be a Division 1, Division 2. They'll rename it whatever they want to do. It won't be the Premier League, though. So people saying about, oh, the Premier League should get on with it and just kick them out and bring six from the Division One up, and it'll still be brilliant. No, it won't. It won't be a thing. So I think, yes, you're right that you should chastise these six clubs, but at the same time, they should be given a little bit of credit to these six clubs. Without these six clubs, Burnley don't survive. Burnley don't get paid week in, week out. Same as teams like Norwich who go up and down. Without the Premier League clubs, without those six big clubs, those clubs don't survive. And I get what Gary Neville's saying. I really do, 100%. But you got to this is the problem, because if his Salford team was going to play Man United, he's in for a big payday. That's why they're annoyed. That's why they're really annoyed about it, because without those six clubs, those smaller teams will fall away completely because the money will be gone from the English league. And that's what it comes down to. So everyone can talk about its bloody morals here and there. It's all about money, all of it.
Yeah, I agree in terms of without them six teams, the Premier League goes to shit and isn't there anymore. So, and that 100% agree with that. And one thing I'll say in Gary Neville, and you know I love Gary Neville, but the fact of the matter is, him bitching more about teams that are going in administration, things like that in the National League. That's not on Man United. That's not on Liverpool. That's not on Arsenal. That's on their team. That club, that organisation, that business, if you want to call it that, in their own rights to be able to stand alone. And that's a simple fact of the matter. So you can talk about, yes, them six teams are important, but they're bringing the money in, and whatever way it's shared out and split out amongst the rest of the clubs and everything else. If there's teams going in administration, and while it's a pandemic and all that, that's good fuck all doing Man United. So, he's doing that from a Salford head on, and that side of things. But the reality of it is, well, that's nothing to do with us. That's on them. And it's the same. It's the same as same for United. If we went bust over this whole situation, this pandemic and everything else, that's on us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to Linfield and going, well, you should give us more money. Well, fuck off. You know what I mean? It's on us. So, um, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it'll happen. My major concern now is UEFA have come out and said that they will stop any of them clubs involved playing in their competitions and all the rest of it. I have just the timing of this is just fucking brutal for me, because if this is announced and we say we are intent to do this, or we're involved in the conversations, and UEFA and the Premier League decide to pass. I don't know if they can, by the way. So there'll be a legal side to it and all. But if they decide to pass on ramifications now, does that impact our involvement in the UEFA Europa League? Does that involve point deduction in the Premier League? I don't know. And that's a far cry, and maybe it's taking things too far.
So it'll never happen. It'll never happen. These clubs are too big. These clubs are propping up European football. That's the whole reason they're talking about it, because they know what they mean to all these competitions. The Europa League without Man United in it is just another competition. It's just another fucking Carling Cup. Do you know what I mean? It's a nothing. It's a nothing. Who's going to pay to see? And this isn't me being an arrogant Man United fan. Who's going to pay to watch Roma? Roma. Who's the other semi final? Arsenal
Villarreal,
and Villarreal.
Villarreal.
Who's going to pay to watch Villarreal Roma in a final? Who? Is there people in China going to watch that? No. Is there people in all of Asia going to watch it? No. Is there people in Australia, New Zealand? No. Is there people in America? No. No one is going to watch that. If Man United play Arsenal in the final, the fucking world will be watching, man. They'll all no, but they will. Like, all those countries are going to have people tuning in. They will not be tuning in for Roma Villarreal. It's as simple as that. It is that, and that's what it comes down to. So there won't be any ramifications right now, because they know what these clubs mean to them. But the other thing is as well, where I can't remember what you said a minute ago now. What was I thinking? Oh, it's gone out of my head.
Must be a really good point to make.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was.
The risk of getting, no, the risk of it impacting on our involvement in the Europa League this season is my worry, and potential
Yeah,
point
but that's what I'm
if
saying.
they
It
want to make
won't.
an example. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I don't think the actual Super League will happen, right?
Wait, sorry, I remember what I was going to say now. It's the same as the conversation between the countries saying that these players will not be able to play for their home nations. So you're telling me France aren't going to pick Paul Pogba for the Euros. You're telling me that England aren't going to bring Rashford. It's a moot point. It's never going to happen. They're not going to not take their best players. You're telling me that England aren't going to take Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling, John Stones. None of them are going to go and play for England now. If you're talking about taking all those players out, you're leaving England with five players. Do
Well,
you know
there's
what I mean?
no.
It's
The,
fucking stupid. It's not going to happen. So they need to stop talking this shit and like just let it run its course and fucking everyone stop panicking about it.
yeah, but I agree in terms of the national sides because that can't be possible because you're allowed to pick from anywhere in the world for your country to play for your country. So if England had a player who's playing in fucking Timbuktu, they can put no matter what league he's in.
It's about registration though, and they're saying this European League won't be registered with any of the governing bodies, which
Well,
is why they want to have that league because they don't want to be registered with anyone because they don't want to have relegation.
well, look, yeah, as you say, I don't think it'll happen either. But what they're saying is they've signed their intent to progress it or something or whatever way they've worded it. If they decide that there's legal ramifications and the outcome of that is fines and point deduction or exclusion from tournament of the Europa League or anything, that would be my worry because I genuinely don't think it'll get to the point of ever happening. But even at the fact that they've signed up to whatever it is at this point to have the conversation and now make it public, which by the way, why the fuck are you making it public? But anyway, and maybe that is just to scare them and get more money. Who fucking knows? But it just seemed like it just seems to be the wrong thing to be involved with, the wrong time to bring it out. Considering where we are in the Europa League, considering where we are in the Premier League, and considering the fact we're in the middle of a fucking match.
But mate, this is the thing that annoys me. Why are Man United the ones being talked about as the number one culprits of this? Man City are there as well. Chelsea are there. Spurs are there. Arsenal. Why is it always us? Because we're the biggest ones. It
But mate,
that's a bit
it's because
depressed
what I
me though.
said. It's because what I said, mate. United, and Liverpool haven't got as much of it as I've seen, but they're included in it. But United will always get it because we're the biggest. Loads of people hate us, so we're easy to be a target. No one gives a fuck if Man City and Chelsea aren't in the league, and I don't mean like I genuinely mean that. The only Man City and Chelsea have only been relevant the last 10 years. Prior to that, they were fuck all. It's only because of money. So so the reality of the situation is like it's been talked about so much for City's fan base and everything else. And I know some people support City and they'll be saying, "No, you're full of shit." Maybe they have supported City from they were knee high to a grasshopper, but they're few and far between. They don't have the fan base that they've been bought. It's been bought with money, so that's why no one gives a fuck. And Spurs, it feels like you're saying because their stadium, maybe that's what it is, but it feels like Spurs we brought along because, someone in fucking City or Abramovich went, okay, I use your videos by mate, let them join too. You know what I
Aye,
mean? You know
Daniel
what I used to
Levy.
bring you to play with me when you were younger than me?
Aye, that's what it was. Daniel Levy, mate. That's why. Because the Man
Well,
City.
yeah,
The one thing I'd say about it, just to wrap it up, I guess, is I would like it to be differentiated between Man United, the football team, and the Glaziers who own Man United. That's what I'd like, and it's the same for Arsenal and City. All of them. It should be the Gronks or whatever they're called who own Arsenal are discussing this, not Arsenal Football Club are looking to do this, or Manchester United Football Club are looking to do this, because Manchester United don't want that, because Manchester United, to me, is those 11 players or those squad of 23 players and the millions of fans that they have. It's not the Glaziers. They just happen to own it. So I'd
yeah.
like that to be differentiated. Like, because at the end of the day, you're going to have people leaving a sour taste in their mouth because of Man United. But at the end, it's not Man United. It's them. It's the American owners.
Yeah. No, and the last thing I'll also say is what I would like is clarification on this is just a conversation. Is it just a conversation? Like I could have a conversation with you right now about whoever, saying feel or we restart finicky and we're going to go and join the European Super League because we've been about. I could have a conversation with you about it. Doesn't mean that's fucking happening. It's just a conversation. So I just would like to know: is there any actual meat on the bones of it? Which like you say, we don't think it'll happen, and it's hard to know. It just seems something's been leaked and they've all jumped all over it. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's taken up a lot of time. I think there's a lot of passion about it and stuff, because of the fact of the risk or the fear of what it can do to your club. But I'll always say I'll always support United no matter what. So we'll see where it goes. I agree with you. I don't think it'll go too far. In
mm.
terms of then today, look, 3-1, job done. 8 points behind City now.
More importantly, 10 points in front of Leicester. I know of a game in hand, but 10 points ahead of the team in third. I think that's massive. That is massive for us.
It's huge, mate. It's huge. And plus, remember, City play Spurs next. If I'm right in this, I need to double check. But they play Spurs in the Cup next in the final. So they won't play that weekend when we play Liverpool. Yes, we play Leeds, which we'll come on to in a second. But So we have to win that, yes. But they play Spurs, then they play Chelsea again in the league. Like if they were to lose, and I'm dreaming because we play Liverpool then, but if they were to lose to Chelsea, we were to be able to beat Leeds and Liverpool. We've cut that gap down all of a sudden to fucking 2 points before they play again. In their next game. But anyway, I'm dreaming. I'll continue to dream until someone tells me it's not real, or until someone tells me
until
it's
we're
not
playing in
possible.
the European Super League.
Yeah, but listen, as I was saying, we're going to Leeds. We're going to talk about, but we're going to do another one on Wednesday night. Talk about that. Give it a bit more time and just cover off anything else. See if there's any more about Super League.
That's that my main thing would be to see how this plays out, because tomorrow we know what Mondays are like and the papers are going to go crazy. So let's give this a few days to see where we're really going with this European Super League. Let's see what Solskjaer has to say. I've seen Fergie's release a statement. I see lots of things happening. So we'll revisit and really look into the Leeds game as well then.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me, bruh. But as I say, today, job done. Good 3-1 win in the end. A week off, a week of rest, which is new, so that's fucking
Rare.
delightful. Very, very well needed to be fair. So it's good to see. So we will reconvene on Wednesday night, and of course, until then, look, have a good week. Hope your Monday goes well. Hope you all had a nice weekend. And as always, let's remain brothers united. Good night. Goodbye. Good
Night
night.
night everyone.